I like to speculate on some of these election races, but one that's caught my attention, and I think is the most interesting race out of all the races in this midterm election, is the race with Senator Raphael Warnock versus Herschel Walker. This is a very interesting race. One thing I want to let you guys know, I'm not a Democrat or Republican. I think both parties are controlled by rich, but I still like to speculate on this stuff. It's a lot of fun. So this race has got my attention because Herschel Walker now has a huge chance of winning. I actually have him winning. That's my prediction. I think he's going to win. A lot of these polls have him tied or up by 1 or 2 points against Warnock. In a Republican state, this is my methodology. Granted, there's no science to it, but I tend to believe most of the time in a Republican state, if the polls show the Republican and Democrat tied, I just give it to the Republican. I'm always factoring a 3-point increase when they're tied, or if the Republican's up by 2 points, I just add +3 to it. Just so in this situation, I just see Warnock losing. I don't think he can win. I just don't see it happening the way things have turned out now. I think it's interesting because people are going to ask, like, how can someone as stupid as Herschel Walker win? And let's be real, Herschel Walker, I'm not even sure if he has more than one brain cell. This guy has the IQ of a raisin. He is really that dumb. Just he's, as they would say, as strong as an ox, but also has a brain of an ox. Just this guy is pretty dumb. Like, he looks like he's not there at times when it comes to his cognitive function. You could see in the debates, just this guy is straight up dumb. Just he's not qualified to be in a high position of power, especially a U.S. senator. So people speculate outside of Georgia, how could this guy be winning? Well, it's not so much him that's winning, or people, when they vote, it's not like they're voting for Herschel Walker. I believe it's probably a combination of two things. The first thing is these people who are voting for Walker, they're basically voting against Warnock. It's just a vote against Warnock, essentially. That's the way I view it, that they're just expressing their displeasure with Warnock. They don't want him. They want him gone. That's really what it is. And I think also it just has to do with Georgia being a Republican state. I think, to be honest, they could have ran anybody against Warnock who's a Republican. They could have ran a straight up dog or an animal, and that animal would be polling ahead of Warnock and would have a high chance to win. They just wanted a Republican, and to be fair, I think you could do the same in a super blue state. You could run an animal against a Republican, and the animal would win. So it's just more like a reflection of how partisan this country is when it comes to politics. They're just going to vote for whoever's on their team, not so much of if they're qualified to have the job. That's just the way I look at it, and that's why the Herschel Walker's going to win. I think, honestly, these people who are voting for him know that he's dumb. I don't think in their heart of hearts they believe he's smart or he's qualified. It's just they want a Republican. That's really what it is. And if we're being honest, it doesn't matter if it's a Democrat or Republican. These politicians are really at the whims of their donors. Whatever the donors ask from them is what they're going to give, essentially. Very few of them are not free from their donors. I would say very few of them can make an independent decision that's not influenced by their donors. So that's really what it comes down to. I think American people know that to some degree, but they don't want to acknowledge that reality. So that's what I look at with Warnock. I mean, Walker, if he's a senator, he's just going to vote for all the Republican issues, and whatever the party tells him to vote, he's going to vote. So I think that's how the voters of Georgia view him, that this guy will just go along with whatever the Republicans want, and they want Republican policies or issues simply because they're voting for him. That's what I really think this comes down to be honest. So it'll be interesting. I'm definitely going to keep an eye on this election, on this race specifically. Just to me, this is the most entertaining one out of all the Senate races. So we'll see what happens tomorrow, but I have Herschel Walker winning.